Are Christians too conservative, uptight, a little too bigoted, if you will? Okay, so today, if you have not gotten a chance to check this out, Reach Records artist Tedashii ended up posting a very, I feel like, controversial post. However, just because it's controversial does not mean it is right or wrong, in my opinion. Just because I don't think it's funny doesn't mean that it's wrong. Just because I don't think it's wise doesn't mean it was wrong. At the same time, just because he can doesn't make it right as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this reaction of this IG reel here.
I love my car. It's a 2011 Mazda 2. She's a rescue. She shakes like one. Look, any car is a Tesla if you look at your iPad instead of the road.
All right, so that was it. That was it. That was basically it. That was him posting a person of which, if you can tell by the overall look and dress, may potentially, and I'm not going to assume, okay? I love to try to give the benefit of the doubt, but may potentially associate themselves with the alphabet community. Now, with that being said, where I went to, just like many others, was the comments, right? And the comments section is always a place of which that reminds me of the scripture, and I'm going to get into it here in a second, but you get a bunch of people in there, right, that all feel like they have, since they are able to comment, that they have the, not just the ability to, but that they almost have the wisdom to lay out before whatever the post might be. So what I mean is, you'll have people who are thumb warriors for Christ, okay, where they feel like their online accountability is going to somehow make the artist, like Tedashii, change his mind about something, right? Then you've got the other side where they're very quick to be upset with the Christians who are calling out whatever the content is for this purpose, the video of which we just watched. Now, I don't think that either one of them are wrong, but how they go about it is a little bit more concerning than anything else. And I feel like Scripture definitely shows us that there always tends to be more of a heart issue on almost every single matter, more than the issue itself, more than the methodology itself as well. So let's go ahead and get into a Bible verse really quick that I feel like kind of would help put this together in the way that I would think when I start to see controversial posts and, more importantly, controversial comments that refer to those. So James 1:19 says, I'm going to read the NLT, says, "Understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry." Verse 20, continuing on there, says, "Human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires." So what does that mean? It simply means, hey, if you see something and you don't like it, don't be quick to speak, okay? In fact, because of social media, just keep on scrolling. It is what it is. Okay. If it's a certain person of which that you followed for a certain reason and then yet they're posting things that contradict the way that you believe, then unfollow. It's just a click of a button. It's that simple. I feel like I'm doing an infomercial. It's that simple. All right. But instead, Christians tend to feel like, hey, it's wrong and we need to let them know. So in that passage of scripture, I try to look at things in such a way, and I'm not great by any means, okay? But I try to look at things in a certain way where, you know what? First off, is this a salvation issue? Do I think this in particular with Tedashii? No, I don't think it's a salvation issue. Do I think it's a wisdom issue? Absolutely, okay? I don't think it was wise. But again, like I was saying earlier, just because I disagree with it and just because I don't think it's a good wisdom issue to go ahead and post it does not make it wrong. In my opinion, it's your social media, okay? It is not like he is a senior pastor that is basically reflecting upon the whole church by his post. Now, of course, immediately People start to take anybody of any influence and immediately stack them right next to pastors, which I think is unfair. All right. I think on one side, yes, you have influence, so be careful with how you use it. Be wise about it. Absolutely. But to the extreme measure of what a pastor has to be, I don't think so. Okay, I don't think there's any scripture that has ever talked about artists or creatives or whatever whoever it is. I don't think there's anything as concrete, solid evidence that speaks against it. Okay, now, am I saying that people are wrong to judge the posts? No, I don't think so. And scripture likes to be twisted by many people, right? But the best that tend to really be able to do it are also Christians, right? So, of course, somebody would say something along the lines of like, hey, you're judging right now, and you shouldn't do that, and that's wrong. To which I go, okay, if you see a snake and you walk by it, do you sit there and go, I don't know what that is, and just keep on walking? No, you call it a snake. If you walk by a man, that's a man. Oh, you see a lady over there? Hey, that's a lady. Those are judgment calls, right? Just like the snake, it could be a copperhead, right? It could be some poisonous snake. Are you going to sit here and go, well, I'm not going to judge that snake? No, you would not go around it. Why? Because your judgment tells you, hey, this is dangerous. So when people try to use the scripture of, you need to take care of the plank in your eye before you worry about the speck in your brother's eye, they just think that's a trump card. That's it right there. Nobody can ever judge whatsoever. It's not your place. It's God's place to do that. Then I go, wait a minute. Did you read the whole passage? It didn't tell us to not judge. It just said that if we do it, we need to do it in such a way that we first reflect and take care of the plank in our eye and make sure that we are right. Not just right in the sense of right or wrong, okay? Right in the sense of, is our heart right? Is our motives right? Are we going about it the right way? Did we even prayerfully consider having the comments and the conversations before we actually had them? Do many do that? No. Have I always done it? Absolutely not. But I just feel like it's unfair to assume that just because you disagree with something that now nobody else can agree with it. But I also feel like it's unfair to think that just because somebody made a judgment call, of which that we use with our eyes, we make judgment calls all the time, that they're no longer allowed to speak on that just because it's on a post. So I don't know how you guys feel about this. I feel like, again, it's more of a wisdom issue. I do also have speculations, which I did see this in the comments as well, that it is kind of for clicks. Because at first when I watched it, I was like, it's not really that funny. And two, you're a well-seasoned person in life, Tedashii, to know that there's going to be controversy. Now, do I think that he did that with that intention? No. I love to try. I say love to try, okay? I really try my best to hope for the best, prepare for the worst. I look for the best in a person, but when the worst comes out, and I'm not saying something's going to come out with Tedashii, but when the worst comes out, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Well, no, we're all one choice away from being the villain. We are all one decision away from being the good guy. Okay, and if we were trying to measure up to what good in God's eyes are, none of us are good, right? We are all the villains. That is why Jesus had to come and to lay his life down so that we could be reunited with God. And through the resurrection, we are now able to do that. This topic is not of one of which of final judgment, but it does allow me to have controversial conversations, and it allows me to think of some things that maybe I would disagree with, but now I can now have conversations with. I think something like this, because again, it's not a salvation issue in my opinion, because of something like this, I can actually potentially show it to maybe an unbeliever, okay, and go, what are your thoughts on it? And even let them read the comments. And because of that, I can then now have a healthy dialogue, which hopefully if they are far from God or they've only seen Christians be super upset and angry or whatever, I'm hoping that I'm able to have conversations that would make them go, hey, you know what? I may not still agree with your God, but I did not know that I was able to have healthy conversations. Because honestly, guys, not many people feel like they can have a healthy conversation with controversial topics with Christians. And I think that's probably the worst part about it. I think if anything else, I think a Christian ought to be able to go into some really tricky conversations, not meaning that we're going to always be right, okay? Not meaning that we're always going to have an answer, but that we're able to go with it with love and grace, and just like James 1:19 and 20 said, where it talks about, again, being slow to speak, slow to anger, right? If we focus on those two things, right? If we focus on being quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger, I think more people would be okay to have conversations instead of assuming, just as Christians assume the other way, that nobody who agrees or disagrees with us as Christians are have anything of value. Okay, and for the people who were saying, I can't believe that you guys were worried about his clothes more than what he said, or that you guys saw him and immediately went to gay, and instead of seeing him as a human. Listen, I don't know what the point of that comment is. Okay, are you trying to say that I'm not supposed to be able to see that? That's like me as a Latino looking at another Latino and go, nope, you're not Latino. You are just a human. Or my wife, who is definitely Caucasian, and look at her and go, oh, you're not Caucasian. You're my wife. Okay? No, she's my wife and she's white. Okay? All right? I am a Christian and I'm Latino. All right? It's not fair to say to somebody that you're not allowed to point something out, but it's also not fair to immediately go to pointing something out and assuming that you know why somebody did it. Now, later on, Tedashii did end up posting a clip of one of his songs. So do I think this had a sequence of which that pointed to potential clicks because controversy allows clicks to happen? Kind of. If I'm going to be completely honest, I do. I do think that that's kind of what he ended up doing. Okay, but at the same time, he might have done it because it was funny to him. And if anybody knows anything about Tedashii over the years, he has said on many occasions he is tired of tiptoeing, of walking on eggshells, especially with other Christians. So is this a post where Tedashii is putting his foot down and going, I don't care if you like me or not, if you like it or not, I like it, so here it is? Or was it for promo? I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments. Let me know. Till next time. Hey, if you liked any of this content and you found some value in it, make sure that you like, subscribe, and of course, share it. Also, if you're interested in some more, go ahead and check out these videos. Till next time, grace and peace. Adios.